in 1962. It was designed by William Cody, who was commissioned by Helen and James Logan Abernathy. This was probably the greatest work of William Cody, one of the seminal modernists working in Palm Springs at the time, along with E. Stewart Williams and Albert Frey, Donald Wexler. And this is probably the sort of quintessential Cody, defined by its thin roof, and he was known as Mr. Thin. That distinction is across so many of the Cody buildings, in addition to which this is his only pavilion house. And so it has the unusual characteristic of these multiple pavilions and set out in a pinwheel fashion across the entire acreage. It is, as you've asked, quintessential modernism because it has every one of those great characteristics of inside is outside and outside is inside. You have these incredible slump stone walls that literally slice through the building that are on the inside and outside. All of the ceilings and many of the walls are clad in sandblasted Douglas fir. Again, it moves seamlessly from the interior of the structure to the exterior of the structure. And same with the terrazzo. The terrazzo is the same inside and outside, and it sort of gives this infinite quality, and I like to think of as mid-century modernism and optimism. There's something that's very kind of optimistic and limitless, and I think sort of reflected the economic times and idealized lifestyle of the era. Interestingly, at something over 4,500 square feet, it was done as a one-bedroom house. They entertained grandly, and half of the house was dedicated to service and not entertaining space. And I think the one thing that we've done in both restoration and more recent interior renovations of the space has been to turn what was service space into family space. The former housekeeper's quarters is now a guest room. Helen Abernathy's art studio is another bedroom that we've created within the house. I would say one of our very favorite places is to spend time dining, lounging, being with friends in the outdoor pavilion.
Which is not original, believe it or not. Eric, when he started this project, was channeling Cody as was the architect, and that was a perfect response to Cody, and being able to have this as a way to see the architecture and to really appreciate it.
The other thing that enabled that structure is the rigor of Cody's architecture. He left us a pretty good template on exactly what to do to create another pavilion, about roof lines and glue lambs and slump stone and terrazzo. One of the things that we've done is to really respect the sort of low water, indigenous natural landscape. And so we created a specimen cactus garden. In the rear, it's about, the agaves and the yuccas and olive trees. And we love the desert landscape and think it's, incredibly special. And in a way, it's so sculptural. And it really then complements the architecture.
It is a Class 1 historic site, so I think what's great about specifically really Riverside or Palm Springs is that they have this incentive for historic preservation.
I think that's one of the reasons that the house is really incredibly special. Unlike some other structures in Palm Springs, it's never really been corrupted.
That's why those historic designations are so important, because it's interesting how few people don't fully understand that the architecture is cultural heritage, and that cultural heritage of Palm Springs is what makes it unlike any other city, not just in the desert, but across the country. People come here because there's something different.
Yep, they come here and it goes like, well, this place feels great, and like, why is this so cool? And even if they don't understand the scholarship around it, which there's no reason to
understand the feeling that it gives you.
And that's what has to be protected.